Hey there, fellow soil enthusiasts! Your soil sensei here with a revelation that completely transformed my garden, and I mean completely. Last season, I watched my neighbor's tomatoes grow like they were on steroids while mine struggled along, despite us both starting with similar soil conditions. The difference? He understood something I was completely missing: soil remineralization. I'll be honest with you, for years I thought good compost and regular fertilizing were enough. I was focused on the big three nutrients everyone talks about: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. But what I discovered is that our soils are starving for trace minerals that have been depleted over decades of intensive agriculture and natural leaching. When I finally addressed this mineral deficiency, the results were nothing short of explosive. I'm talking about plants that grew 30% larger, fruits that were noticeably more flavorful, and vegetables that seemed to resist pests and diseases like they had their own personal bodyguards. The transformation was so dramatic that neighbors started asking what miracle fertilizer I was using. The answer surprised them, and it might surprise you too. Before we dive into solutions, you need to understand why mineral depletion is such a widespread problem. Modern agriculture has been mining our soils for over a century, extracting minerals faster than natural processes can replace them. Even if you're growing organically, your soil is likely deficient in crucial trace elements that plants need for optimal health and growth. Think of it this way: plants are like sophisticated factories that need specific raw materials to function properly. We've been giving them the basic building blocks: nitrogen for leafy growth, phosphorus for root development, potassium for overall plant health. But we've been ignoring the specialized components they need for peak performance. It's kind of like trying to build a high-performance engine with only basic steel when you really need specialized alloys and rare metals. The problem is compounded by the fact that, honestly, many of these mineral deficiencies aren't immediately obvious. Plants don't just stop growing when they lack trace minerals. They become more susceptible to stress, produce lower-quality fruits and vegetables, and struggle to reach their genetic potential. You might think you're doing everything right, but your plants are essentially running on empty. Natural weathering of rock and decomposition of organic matter used to replenish these minerals, but modern growing practices and increased rainfall intensity have accelerated leaching beyond natural replacement rates. The result is soil that looks healthy, but, in reality, lacks the mineral complexity that plants have evolved to expect. The cornerstone of effective soil remineralization is understanding that plants originally evolved to grow in soil derived from weathered rock. This connection led me to discover rock dust, specifically basalt rock dust, which has become my secret weapon for mineral restoration. Basalt rock dust is essentially volcanic rock that's been ground into a fine powder containing over 60 different minerals and trace elements. When I first applied it to my garden beds, I was skeptical about whether such a simple solution could make a real difference. But basalt contains everything from iron and magnesium to rare trace elements like molybdenum and cobalt that plants need in tiny amounts, but absolutely cannot thrive without. The application process is straightforward, but timing matters. I apply basalt rock dust in early spring before planting, working it gently into the top few inches of soil. The key is using enough to make a difference. I use about 5 pounds per 100 square feet for severely depleted soil, then reduce to 2 or 3 pounds annually for maintenance. The results don't happen overnight, but within 6 to 8 weeks, the difference in plant vigor is unmistakable. What impressed me most about basalt is its slow-release nature. Unlike synthetic fertilizers that provide a quick burst followed by depletion, rock dust continues feeding plants throughout the entire growing season. The minerals become available gradually as soil microorganisms break down the rock particles, creating a steady supply of nutrients that matches natural plant uptake patterns. Granite dust is another excellent option, particularly for acid-loving plants. It's rich in potassium and provides a different mineral profile than basalt, making it perfect for blueberries, azaleas, and other plants that thrive in slightly acidic conditions. I often use a combination of both, adjusting ratios based on soil pH and specific crop requirements. While rock dusts provide broad mineral coverage, azamite deserves special attention for its incredible trace element profile. This volcanic ash contains over 70 minerals and trace elements in forms that plants can readily absorb. I discovered azomite through an old-timer farmer who swore by it for producing prize-winning vegetables, and after trying it myself, I understand why he was so enthusiastic. Azomite works differently than rock dusts because it's already been processed by geological forces over millions of years. The minerals are in a highly available form that plants can access immediately, making it perfect for addressing acute deficiencies or giving plants a quick mineral boost during critical growth periods. I apply azomite at about 1 to 2 pounds per 100 square feet, either mixed into planting holes for individual plants or broadcast across entire beds. The results are particularly dramatic with fruiting plants like tomatoes, peppers, and squash. The fruits are noticeably more flavorful and colorful, with better shelf life and improved nutritional content. One of the most impressive aspects of azomite is its impact on plant disease resistance. Plants with adequate trace mineral nutrition simply don't get sick as often or as severely as mineral-deficient plants. I've watched tomato plants treated with azomite shrug off early blight that devastated untreated plants just a few feet away. The ocean contains virtually every mineral that exists, and kelp meal brings this mineral diversity directly to your garden. Kelp has been my go-to for fast-acting mineral supplementation, particularly during the growing season when plants need quick access to trace elements for fruit development and stress recovery. What makes kelp meal special is its growth hormone content in addition to its mineral profile. Kelp naturally produces auxins, cytokinins, and gibberellins, the same growth hormones that plants use to regulate their own development. When you add kelp meal to your soil, you're essentially giving plants a hormonal boost along with mineral nutrition. I use kelp meal both as a soil amendment and as a foliar spray. For soil application, I work 1 to 2 pounds per 100 square feet into planting beds in early spring. For foliar feeding, I make a tea by steeping kelp meal in water for 24 hours, then spraying it on leaves during cool morning or evening hours. This foliar application provides almost immediate mineral uptake through leaf surfaces. The response to kelp meal is often visible within days, especially in plants that are stressed or struggling. Leaves become a darker green, stems strengthen, and the overall vigor of the plant just improves dramatically. I've used kelp meal to rescue plants suffering from transplant shock, weather stress, or nutrient deficiencies with honestly, remarkable success. Calcium deficiency is, honestly, one of the most common mineral problems I encounter. It shows up in everything from blossom end rot in tomatoes to poor fruit development in peppers. Gypsum has become my preferred calcium source because it provides both calcium and sulfur, without affecting soil pH like lime does. The beauty of gypsum is really its dual action on soil health. The calcium improves soil structure by helping clay particles aggregate properly, which creates better drainage and allows for easier root penetration. Meanwhile, the sulfur enhances protein synthesis in plants and improves the uptake of other nutrients, especially nitrogen. I usually apply gypsum at rates of 1 to 2 pounds per 100 square feet, typically in the fall or early spring before planting. The effects on soil structure are, noticeable within just a few weeks. Compacted clay soil becomes more workable, and drainage improves a lot. Plant responses include stronger cell walls, better fruit quality, and improved resistance to calcium-related disorders. For gardens with high magnesium soil, which is pretty common in areas with dolomitic limestone, gypsum is especially valuable because it provides calcium without adding more magnesium. This helps balance the crucial calcium to magnesium ratio that, affects nutrient availability and soil structure. Successful soil remineralization really requires a systematic approach that addresses your specific soil conditions and crop requirements. I start every season with a basic soil test to identify major deficiencies, then design a mineral program that takes care of both immediate needs and long-term soil health. Alright, so my standard remineralization protocol begins with rock dust application in early spring, followed by targeted amendments based on soil test results. Throughout the growing season, I supplement with kelp meal applications during those critical growth periods, and I use gypsum as needed for calcium-sensitive crops. You know, the timing of applications matters significantly. Heavy minerals like rock dust are best applied when soil can be worked without compaction, which is typically in early spring or fall. Water-soluble amendments like kelp meal can be applied throughout the growing season, with timing adjusted to match plant growth cycles. I've learned to adjust my program based on plant responses, rather than just strictly following generic recommendations. Some crops, particularly brassicas and tomatoes, respond dramatically to mineral supplementation, while others show more subtle improvements. The key is really observing plant health and adjusting applications accordingly. The true test of any remineralization program is plant performance, but there are specific indicators I watch for to gauge effectiveness. Improved disease resistance is often the first sign of success, followed by enhanced fruit quality, better stress tolerance, and increased overall plant vigor. I keep detailed records of mineral applications, I keep detailed records of plant performance, I keep detailed records of soil test results over time. This data helps me refine my approach. This data helps me identify which amendments provide the best return on investment for my specific soil conditions and growing goals. Visual soil assessment has become honestly increasingly important in my evaluation process. Healthy, minerally balanced soil just has a different look and feel. You'll notice better structure, a darker color, and increased biological activity. These qualitative changes often come before you'll actually see measurable improvements in plant performance. Soil remineralization isn't a one-time fix. It's really an ongoing process that builds soil health and plant performance over the years. The most dramatic improvements, in my experience, often appear in the second and third years as minerals fully integrate into the soil ecosystem and beneficial microorganisms start to multiply. The investment in remineralization, well, it pays dividends far beyond just improved plant growth. Nutrient-dense vegetables from minerally balanced soil taste better, store longer, and actually provide superior nutrition. The enhanced disease resistance means you'll need fewer pest control interventions, and improved soil structure reduces watering requirements and helps prevent erosion. Ready to unlock your soil's potential and witness explosive plant growth in your own garden? Subscribe to Soil Sensei for more evidence-based growing strategies that actually work. And hey, share this article with fellow gardeners who are ready to discover what their plants are truly capable of achieving. Your garden and your harvest will never be the same.